Good evening, everyone, and a very warm welcome to the first session of Skill Sprint. It's an honor to introduce Mr. Noble Babu, lead product designer at Apna Co. He brings with him a wealth of experience in product design, having worked at Adobe, HP, and several fast growing startups. With a strong foundation in engineering and a deep passion for user centered design, he has mentored and led teams in building intuitive, impactful products. Today, he'll be taking us through the fundamentals of UI UX, design thinking, and an overview on essential design tools like Figma. We are thrilled to have him with us. Without wasting any time, let's give a warm welcome to Sir. Hello, Sir.
Hi everyone. I hope I'm audible.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
everyone.
Yeah. Okay, great. So I'll just share my screen and we can get started. Okay. Is my screen visible? Everyone able to see?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay, perfect. All right. So I think you guys have done a great introduction about myself. So I'm going to skip that part and keep it pretty simple. I'll just tell you what I've been doing all these years. I am not a born designer. I actually did my mechanical engineering, and from mechanical engineering, I slowly transitioned. I worked with Adobe, HP, like someone just mentioned, and eventually found that passion for design, right? Something that moves you. So I found that, and I eventually transitioned into a full-time product designer. Worked with startups, all the way from Malaysia, Dubai, UK, Qatar, etc. And here we are. I've also led a design team, headed the entire startup of Beep, and now at Apna, where we are again building a product, a 0 to 1 product, similar to a startup itself. Right. So I'm really thrilled to be here. I was expecting very few people to be joining, but I can see about 80 plus people have joined, and that's very nice. So as you can see, the title, it's not a traditional title of just UI UX basics or fundamental, something like that. Today we are going to uncover a little more extra, right? Let's keep it a little juicy and very interactive sort of session. So we are going to talk about design that moves the world. The reason why I've named it this way is because design is being very overused nowadays. I mean, before it used to be engineers and doctors, but now it's changed. It's more of designers and software developers, right? Everywhere, the role is rising and it's in demand. So that is why when a particular skill becomes overused, at the same time, very skillful people, the demand for very skillful people also increases, right? So there will be normal designers, but at the same time, there will be also designers who actually move the world, and they are the people who are going to succeed. So that's what we'll be uncovering today, right? So design that moves the world, that's what we'll be getting into. And before I get started, I have a few things that I want to share with you. You need a pen and paper or any note-taking app. It can be on your phone, built-in notes app. You need to jot down the small pointers that I'm about to tell you, because it will be very informational, and take screenshots whenever you feel like. Summarize your notes. You can use ChatGPT, Perplexity, anything to summarize the points that you have written down or taken down. And I want you to post on LinkedIn. And you can tag me, of course, and you can also tag KIIT. The reason why I'm saying this is because every time you learn something, you don't want to just keep it to yourself. You want the entire world to know it. All right. So that's how you increase your visibility. You become more visible on the radar. Right. So that will increase your chances of getting jobs in the future or even building your own products. Right. So it's very important to do that. So make sure you take notes and take screenshots and make sure you have something ready for LinkedIn. right? And also, I can see that people are able to unmute, but I would encourage all of you to be using the chat as well, because there's a lot of Q&A or maybe small questions that I would be asking. So go ahead and use the chat, and I want it to be filled with emojis, fire emojis, whatever it is, to make it as interesting as possible, right? Okay, so are you guys ready? Everyone? Can I get a thumbs up? Ready with your note-taking app? Awesome, wonderful. Some more fire emojis. Yeah. Okay, great. So the first question to all of you, now you don't have to unmute, just make sure you use the chat. It's going to be a very generic question. What is design? Any sort of design, right? Just start commenting in the chat box. It can be vague, it can be anything, it can be whatever you know. There's no right or wrong, right? Sambhav is saying, present your identity. Very nice. It's a way of expressing your ideas through imagery, through imagination, thumbnail designing, look and feel, visual representations. Great, keep them coming. Okay. Something that makes a product presentable. Very nice. Engaging with the audience, an expression that make people turn their heads. Wow, very nice use of words. Creating a usable technology with good interface. Okay, that is specifically with UI, I'm guessing. Represent our imagination, which portrays our imagination. So I can see a lot of imagination in this. So I'm guessing you guys have some sort of context on what design is, right? You might be relating it to different terms, like someone has just mentioned architecture or structure. Yes, that is also right. Yash says design is like life that makes any framework come to life. Good, I like that. Okay, so when I asked you explain design or what is design, right? I wasn't talking about UI, UX, product, nothing. I was just talking about design in general. What is design? And today I'm going to give you a formula that you can repeat and tell it to absolutely anyone, right? So design is creative thinking plus problem solving. Now, how many of you knew this? Of course, you knew that design is to be creative. Design has some creative thinking, some imagination, right? But it is also an underrated statement called problem solving. Designing is not just about being loud with your visual skills or you know making it look good or feel good. Of course, that is important, but problem solving is also very important. Let it be fashion, interior design, product design, or UI, UX, or even graphic design, anything, right? It has to be solving a problem. But if design generally is creative thinking and problem solving, then what is UI, UX design? I know you guys have come here to learn that, right? So what is UI, UX design, guys? Anything in the comments? Whatever you know. What is UI? What is UX design? Is it making apps? Is it making buttons? Right? I'm going to give you a formula for that as well. Planning or blueprint of an app. Okay. More than experience, rather just looks good. Good. All right. So UX design, similar formula, but it is problem solving through interfaces. And how do we solve this problem? What do we need to consider? We consider psychology, behavior, and empathy, and many more things, but this is the most important thing, right? So UX design is, again, I have to clear something here. It's not UI, UX, it is UX design, which is user experience design. And UI is a small thing that comes under UX. We will learn more about that later. But for now, what you need to remember is, what is UX design? Problem solving through interfaces, considering psychology, behavior, and empathy, right? So it's not just about visuals, it's about understanding people. understanding what your mom, dad wants, what the people who use a food delivery app wants, right? And solving their problems with creativity, with empathy, right? Can anyone tell me what empathy is? What is empathy? Okay, you can unmute if you like, or you can also mention in the chat box as well. Putting yourself in others' perspective. Perfect. Yes. First answer itself is on point. Understanding user problem. Yes. Understanding how others feel. Nice. I love that, Yash. Good job. To understand users' pain points. Okay, ability to understand, share the feelings. Great. So that is what empathy is, right? When someone is going through a problem, you empathize with them, you understand what they're going through, and you try to solve it. So what is UX design? It is problem solving through interfaces considering psychology, behavior, and empathy. Now there are many laws of UX and design principles that helps us design good interfaces, design good products that make these people's life easier, right? There are many laws of UX. Some of the website that you can check out is lawsofux.com, right? And also there are Gesol's principle. So these are a few things that we don't need to get into the details of it, but you must understand what solving a problem means with creativity. Now, let's make it a little more interactive this time. Right? So I want you to just name any app or any website that comes to your mind when you see this word, food. What is the first app that comes to your mind? Swiggy, Zomato, Swiggy, yes. Right, great. I can see a lot of Swiggies. Blinkit, Swiggy, great. Keep them coming. What else? Blinkit, Swiggy, because of the color. All right. Okay. Boj, there's many new apps also that I'm seeing. Boj, Swiggy, GeoMart, great. Zepto, Eat Sure, Berus, right? I can see restaurants as well now. Okay, great. Nestle, okay. Nestle, okay. Swiggy, Domino's, right? Now let's try another one. What about clothes? Any app or website for clothes? Zara, Mintra, Ajio, okay, Misho, right? A lot of Mintra fans over here. Flipkart, H&M, great, yes, keep them coming. Any app that comes to your mind. I can see there's a lot of people here. Devakoof, Urbanic, yes. Monte Carlo, Soul Store, New Me, Alibaba, right? Lot of Mintras and yeah, nice. West Side. Okay, now let's take it up a little. Booking a cab. This time it's not just about something, it's going to be about a particular function that we do. Ola, Rapido, Uber, InDrive, okay. Rapido, Uber, Ola, great. Some people are just commenting all of the apps they can think of. Nice. Good job. All right, so you guys are aware of all these things, right? So now the question that you need to ask yourself is there's a lot of apps for food, there's a lot of app for clothes, right? There's a lot of apps for booking a cab as well. If you're in Bangalore, there's the local app like Namayatri, and if wherever you are, there's different government applications as well. Why is it that you remembered only one application, one or two maybe, right? Credibility and popularity, yes, that's good. And also ease, user experience, okay. Trust, visually more appealing, yes guys. So the reason why you remembered that particular app was because, see, we all love convenience, right? We all want things to be very simple as possible. Whenever you want food, you want your favorite food and you want to easily access your favorite food, let it be Domino's, Burger King, right, McD, whatever it is, you want to immediately order it. Same ways with cabs, you want to immediately book your cab. You have maybe 3 apps on the background, but whichever cab comes first, you go for that, right? Similar for clothing as well. You want smarter clothing choices. So, what is a common point here? Convenience. We want convenience and we love it. We love when things are very convenient. That's why the mobile phone is the best selling thing in the world, because it's easy. Everything is there in your fingertips. You can learn, you can unlearn, you can watch, you can consume content, you can even build a new startup if you have just this particular device, right? You can do many things with it. So convenience is the central point. That's something that you need to round off when you're thinking about user experience. People love convenience. And the reason why you named these apps, it's not just because of marketing or branding, it's because you love the convenience that it gives. It's easy to order food, it's easy to buy a clothing. You can even return clothes nowadays. You can book a cab within 5 minutes. It's become that easy, and that's because of clever user experience. Now, what is all this buzz about UX designers being so valuable and um, all these things, right? So what we have to learn is there is a demand for UX design, especially for designers. If you look at the chart back in 2002, it was maybe very less, but now in 2025, it's reached a level that we can't even comprehend, because everywhere, every corner of these cities, there is a startup that is coming up. There are new designers that are in demand, right? There is hiring happening everywhere. The only thing they need is good designers, and we will get to that in a little bit. What is good versus bad versus amazing, right? But the thing is, demand for design is just skyrocketing in 2025. So if someone tells you UX designers are out of jobs, just remember that demand for designing is only growing,
वो
and
देना मेरा पूरा
designers
बाबू है।
still have a lot of potential. I think, Prakash, can you mute yourself? You might have unmuted by mistake, I guess. Okay, no problem. All right, so demand for design is growing rapidly, right? Now, what does that mean? That means design has turned from a nice to have, okay, it's good to have a designer on the team. From there, it has turned to a must have, which means no companies can survive without designers, or no one can really survive without design skills. And that's what we are here for today. We are not here to become UX designers full time, but we are here to learn how important a design skill is. And trust me, it's not a rocket science, it's easy to learn, right? So design has become a core skill because most of the startups, most of the product based startups are building new apps, websites, web apps, right? If you have heard of these terms, it's becoming easier for people to design now. So anyone is able to design. If you decide that you want to design an application today, you can actually get it done in the next 1 hour. I'm not even joking. It is that possible. Because thanks to AI has made everything so simple. Design has become a core business skill rather than just, a full-time job. You need to learn and know design. You need to have that sort of design mindset in order to create good applications, good websites, things like that. Have you all heard of the website or app called Canva? Can I get a thumbs up or a fire emoji? Yeah, you have heard about Canva, right? Everyone knows Canva. People love Canva, right? So Canva has made it CD about design. You don't even need to know how to prepare a presentation. And paste it on Canva, and there you go. Your design is ready. right? Similar to that, there are other tools like Lovable, and of course Figma. If you have heard of Figma, it's one of the most famous tools for designers. So all of these tools are making it easier for designers to create. And now, especially for you who are in their education, in their career, if you want to create a particular design, if you're not a master at Figma or Canva, you can actually learn these tools and start taking your ideas, turning it into action. Take those personas meaning different stories, user stories, right? For example, someone wants to order homely food, right? You take that particular story and you turn it into a product. And then once you build a good product, you turn all of those users into loyal people who keep coming back to your app. That is exactly what all these apps that you just named, Swiggy, Zomato, Ola, that's what they're doing. They're actually using this simple formula. So, what do we understand from design mostly? Design is not just about putting colors here and there. It's actually about emotion. It's actually about making practical things, right? So when you are going to be a founder, when you're going to be a software developer, or even a marketing specialist or a digital marketer, whatever it is, right? You need to have that design mindset. That is, how can I empathize with my users and create that sense of emotion, right? Emotion that leaves them coming back to the app, right? That's why every time you open Swiggy, Zomato, you immediately see a top section that yells out emotion, right? You see Eid, when it's Eid, you always see these Eid festives, different designs on the app. And whenever there is Christmas or Diwali, you see it changing and changing because it is related to emotion. So remember this: convenience, emotion, all of these things are very important. That's what we are getting into. What is design? Design is strategy, not just decoration, not just colors. This is a huge problem that is there in the market right now. Many people think that designing means putting as many colors as possible, but it's not that. Designing is not just about how it looks, right? I think many people who look at design mentors, or even if you have seen my channel as well on LinkedIn, I always say that design is not about how it looks. It's about how it feels. It's about the emotion. It's about the convenience that it gives. So these are the 3 points that you need to remember. First one, convenience. There is a famous quote that says, great design feels invisible, right? So if you're using a good application, you never tell everybody that, oh, it's so nice to see, it's beautiful colors, I love the way the experience is. You don't say that. Instead, whenever you use a bad app, you immediately think, oh, this app is so bad, and you start telling everyone about how bad this app is. That's exactly what design is. Design is not about being loud, it's about being as smooth as possible, that you don't even see it. You don't even see how good it is because it feels like it's a normal thing. It feels that convenient. So I can give you guys an example here. If you guys have seen, um, have you guys heard of Yahoo? It's an old website that was there. Yeah, I can see a bunch of thumbs up. Okay. You guys have seen Yahoo, right? So this is a website that shows Yahoo back in 2005. So I'm just going to change the view here. Okay. So Yahoo is basically a search engine website, and this is back in 2005. If you can see Yahoo over here, you can also understand that there is a lot of things here and there, right? There is a search engine, there is a bunch of pictures, things like that. But at the same time, just look at Google. Right? There is a reason why many people know Google and many of them don't know what Yahoo is. That's because of cognitive load. Now, what is cognitive load? It means Google has actually taken how Yahoo used to be with all of these information. When the moment you land on Yahoo website, you just look at this and you are overwhelmed. It's cluttered, like how Samba was saying, right? It was cluttered. It was full of a mess. People didn't know what to focus on. So Google understood this. The founders of Google understood this, and they made it super simple by just keeping a search engine, because they understood that users did not want to do this and that. They just wanted to come and simply type what they wanted and search. As simple as that, right? So the cognitive load was completely reduced. And because of that, Google became a trend. People started using the word Google as a verb. I am Googling this, I'm Googling that, right? No one ever said that the same thing about Yahoo or the other search engines. So Google replaced that because of convenience. Good design reduces cognitive load. It actually helps users focus on what is most important. Similarly, there's another example also that I can show you guys. If you guys have seen this website, how many of you know IRCTC website? Have you ever booked a ticket using IRCTC website? Anyone? Have you booked a ticket? Yes? Really painful. I can see a bunch of people who have actually booked it. Respect to all of you, because the moment I open IRCT's website, it pisses me off, right? It's not easy to use. It's so tough. I don't know what to focus on. If I want to book a hotel, I really don't know where to go for hotel, because I know it's IRCTC, but still you see hotel on the top, holidays on the top, right? But at the same time, if you go to RedBus, look how simple it is. It has reduced cognitive load for me. Now, if I want to find PNR status, I can know where to look. It's right here, like live train status. It's all right here. That's what design does to you. It reduces your cognitive load. It makes it so simple, which means efficiency, right? That is our next point. Efficiency also increases. Fewer clicks, more action. Remember, before Swiggy era, right? When we wanted to order a food, you would have to call the restaurant. You would have to probably go out, get the food, and get it back here. But now everything has changed. Swiggy, Zomato has changed the entire game by keeping things very simple. You take your phone, you choose a restaurant, right? You add it to the cart and you pay. 3 steps, it's done. But at the same time, Swiggy and Zomato replaced the other competitors using efficiency. Fewer clicks means more actions and better user experience. So you don't need to have 10 different screens. Instead, you reduce it to just 3 screens. And it's so much easier, right? So complex journeys are reduced into easy journeys. Now that's how efficiency works. Now, when convenience and efficiency is brought together, it becomes a good business. And that is our third point. It creates growth. Now, if any of you, I'm hoping there's a lot of you who wants to start something new, who wants to build new apps, new products, get amazing jobs, right? So all of you, you have to focus on one thing, which is combining convenience and efficiency to create better business. That is growing your business. So when you combine both of this, your users keep coming back, they keep using your app. And what does that mean? That means you have a better business, you have a better ROI, more money, right? So your business keeps improving. Now that is the impact of design. It actually levitates your business. So what does a product designer do? Does anyone know this? A product designer or a UX designer or a UI designer, what do you think they do? I would love to hear some answers. Everyone, what does a product designer do? Do they build apps? Do they build websites, making the product appealing? Okay. What else? Blueprints of interface. They make product according to user ease. That's a good one. Brings attention to product. Sambhav says finds out best way a product may appeal. Design, they uplift user experience. Adarsh, nice one. Make the idea relate to user. Yes, so product designers, you guys are all right, by the way. But the only thing is, product designers are not just making things appealing, they're not just making things look good, but they are actually taking an idea and turning it into a tangible product, which means a product that you can touch and feel, right? A product that you can digitally use, a product that is going to generate wealth for the business. So we are going to understand, what does a product designer do, or what does a UX designer really do? Now, for this, there is a framework that designers like me generally use, which is called the design thinking. Now, design thinking is a 5-step process, but I'm just shortening it into a 4-step because it's easier for you to understand. The first step is research, right? So when someone comes to you with a problem, what do? You go and find out if it's true, you ask your friends, you take feedbacks, you try to find out if it's actually true. And that part is called research, which includes empathizing and defining the problem. So you, when you're talking to people, that means you're empathizing with them. You understand how they feel, you understand what their problems are, and then you pinpoint it to a particular problem. For example, if you're going for an online course, right? If you want to take an online course, or if you're building a product that gives online courses, you have to notice if students are dropping off during the sign up, which means I click on sign up, I immediately see a bunch of screens, and then me as a user feels overwhelmed and I drop off. I leave the application. Now that is a problem, right? That is a problem. And in order to define that problem, you need to empathize with these users who are leaving the application, or as we call it, dropping off, right? So the second step is, once you have understood the problem, you start ideating, which means coming up with wonderful solutions to your problem. You start thinking, okay, what if the sign up process had only 3 steps? You don't collect all the information. You just keep a simple button which says sign up using Google. That's enough, right? So the user just comes, instead of going through 5 different steps, they click on sign up using Google, and voila, there it is. You have signed up for the application. So you have solved a particular problem. Now, once you have come up with the idea, you start to turn it into a prototype, which means you use, the first step of prototyping could be taking a paper and sketching your solution. Okay, it should have a box, it should have sign up with Google, or maybe I should just collect name and number, mobile number, right? Things like this, and you try to prototype it. And then you get into Figma, the most popular app, right? You get into Figma and then you design it on Figma itself, right? And right after prototyping, when your design is ready, you test it with real users. You test it with actual students who wants to take up online courses, and you see if your solution is working. So the final result would be students complete their sign up process 4x faster, and the dropout reduces. More people are signing up, right? So that would be the final conclusion. So this is the sort of process which is called as famously design thinking, is what most designers use. But there's a small twist to it, and again, I'll come to that later. All right. So the biggest question, and maybe the biggest reason why all of you are here, is what is UX, what is UI, right? So we are again going back to the basics a little bit. So what is UX and what is UI? For this, I'm going to give you an example. let's imagine you're going to a restaurant, a nice restaurant, right? And you order a lime juice, right? You order a lime juice. And the waiter comes to you with two different options. One lime juice is in a plastic cup, the other one is in a nice glass with lime and mint leaves and a dash of salt on the tip, right? It could look maybe something like this, right? Now tell me, which one would you go for? Would you go for A or B? I can see a lot of B. Okay. Okay. Right. So you would definitely go for B because you are not insane to choose a plastic cup with a straw in it. Right. Now, why did you go for B? That is the biggest question. Presentation skills, okay. Appealing, right? It's very appealing. It looks good, right? Great. My experience will be better. Authenticity, Rupam, nice one. Rajashri says, looks more tempting. Of course, that picture also looks very, very tempting, to be honest. Right? So we would all go for point B. Now, why would we go for that? Just like you guys said, it looks very appealing, right? It looks very nice and you would want to consume it right away, right? But at the same time, now let's twist the entire narrative. Now imagine the good looking thing, the good looking lime juice does not have a nice taste. Would that ruin your experience? Obviously, right? Even though it looks good, if it did not taste well, you would absolutely hate it and you would probably ask for a refund or a replacement, things like that, right? So similarly, UI means it's about how a product looks. It's the look, it's the visually visible thing that you're seeing on your mobile phones or your devices. UI is how a product looks, whereas UX is the overall experience, which combines both UI and the experience and the taste of it, right? In short, taste of it. If the product does not look good, but still it tastes good, again, you're compromising. But at the same time, if it looks good, and if it tastes amazing, there is a good chance you're going to tell all your friends about this awesome lime juice, right? So similarly, UX is about the overall experience. It's not just about how it looks. Now, both combined helps us create a good product. It means good design plus good experience as well. So how do we really build a great product? Now, remember, we went about the design thinking process. We understood research, ideation, right? In the ideation stage is when you talk to product managers, when you talk to your stakeholders, like probably your founders or maybe your investors. If you're planning to start a startup, right? You would talk to all of these people, you would ideate, and then you would prototype it and then test it, right? You would use tools like Figma to create the design, and then finally send it to the software developers who would code it and develop it, and then you finally have your app or your website, right? That's what we know. But I'm going to show you another method which is completely a game changer, because this, what I just told you, was maybe until 2025, right? 2025 has completely changed the game. There is a new way of designing. There is a new way of being an entrepreneur. There is a new way of being a design founder, which means you use AI tools. You use AI to actually create things much, much faster. So the first step is you use ChatGPT, Perplexity, or Claude, or any app of your choice to ideate solution. Users want uh, an app that delivers homely food, right? Especially for students. So I go to ChatGPT and Perplexity or Claude, and I start telling Claude that, okay, I want this sort of thing, and how do I come up with it? And then you get a bunch of solutions. You take these solutions and you put it into the latest tools called Lovable or Bolt. Or you can also use Motive or Creative. Now, how many of you have heard of these tools? How many of you have heard of all of these tools? Right. Okay, I can see nice comments as well coming in. All right. So you have heard of these tools, right? I'll just show you a bunch of them. This is how Claude looks, right? So if I go to Claude and I say I want to create an app that gives or delivers homely food to students, you should start all the way from onboarding. Onboarding is what we call for signing up, right? Onboarding experience to checking out or checkout and payment, right? That's it. We're keeping it simple. I want to also design each screens for this app. That's it. I'm just showing you a very quick example, so forgive me if I'm very fast. So what Claude is going to do is it's actually going to write real code, right? And it's going to try and make a particular app right in front of you. Now, many of you might know this, but for those of you who don't know it, it's going to take some time, firstly. And also, you would get a very detailed structure of how the thing will appear. Now, can you imagine how simple this has become? You don't need to start designing on Figma. Instead, I am going to start designing firstly on AI apps before I jump to Figma, right? Now, while this, they have even named the app's name, Home Meals. Sounds good. Now, while this happens, I'm going to show you a bunch of other platforms as well, which is solely for design. Now, this is called Magic Patterns. Similarly, there is createy.ai, which is again to create UI designs, right? And then there is Motive. Now, if I want to start a particular design, I can just click on new file and I'm going to close this. I'm going to go to this AI tab over here. And there is a thing called as AI generates UI. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to say, I want a food delivery app from onboarding to checkout. That's it. Keep it simple, right? The moment I do that, the app is actually going to start generating UI for me, right? So it's going to again take a little bit of time, but you can see how fast it has become. So there's already 2 screens that is there. So instead of starting on a blank screen, I would actually go to these AI apps and see if I can create a particular UI that will help me, get to Figma, right? So I'm not going to go to Figma at the very beginning. I'm going to use AI to create this. Right? We'll come back to this. It's going to take some time. So the main point is you don't start from Figma, you start with AI, you start with Perplexity or ChatGPT, and then you use Lovable, Bold, or Motive Creator to build some UI. And then you use Figma to add practical UX and amazing visual designs. Now, once all of this is done, it ends with testing the prototype and the design with real users, right? So you start testing it with real users so that you get proper feedback, and then you are able to see if your solution works or not. Now, this is the most famous method that I like to use every day. Right. So what does this mean? This means you need to embrace AI, not be scared of it. Instead, you need to start using AI in its maximum potential and give all the mundane work, which means building wireframes, building UI, all of these small things, and you get to focus on the experience. Because trust me, guys, we are at an AI era, just like how there was industrial age, right? We are at AI age, where everything is going to be controlled by AI. So there you go. There is a small onboarding that the particular AI has created. It's not perfect, but again, as you can see, there is one screen over here. There's a bunch of 3 onboarding screens, and then there is a home screen as well. Now you can imagine how simple it is to be a designer, right? But again, like I said, designing is not just about creating this UI. It's about adding experience to it, because anyone, even AI, can create this design for you. But how do you become a faster designer? How do you become a faster entrepreneur? By using AI and focusing on experience, right? So have you guys heard of the app called Airbnb? Yes, can I get a thumbs up? Okay, great. So you have heard of the app Airbnb, right? Now, if you haven't, I would implore you to go and check out the app, download it, and start using it. You will understand what experience truly means, because Airbnb's founder is actually a designer. He is one of the only, or maybe one of the best design founders who has built such a successful application in the entire world. Similarly, have you heard of Duolingo? Can I get a thumbs up? Right? Duolingo is also a very famous application. Again, if you haven't, go check it out. Duolingo uses design at its best, because learning itself is a very boring process. Right. So to make learning fun, Duolingo has, in fact, their company's biggest team is a design team. You can imagine how much of an importance designers are given, right? So all of these tools actually create a lot of value for designers. I'm going to just quickly see if Claude has something for us. There you go. Claude has actually built a point of view, as I call it. This is how an app could look like, right? Obviously, it does not have the best UI. That's because I'm using Claude. Now, if I'm using Lovable or Bolt, it will give me a better UI, right? I can just click on Get Started. Some sort of error is there. But at the same time, if you use Lovable or all of these apps, it'll give you a better result. To be honest, Claude, I use it for understanding or getting more prompts, right, to making a detailed structure. So embrace AI and become faster designers. That should be your takeaway from this particular presentation. Make AI your best friend, right? So another thing that I want to also tell you guys is that UI design is not really the most important thing. In an AI era, UI design is going to be slowly declining, because AI is going to be able to make generic UI, right? Like how if you open Swiggy, Zomato, Zepto, Blinkit, don't you see similar designs? To be honest, right? You see similar top navigation, you see similar colors, maybe a little bit different, but most of it is similar, right? There's nothing much different. If Zepto comes up with 5-minute delivery, the next day Swiggy comes up with 3-minute delivery, right? So they are all competing with each other and they're making similar things. Now that's what UI design is going to be. It's going to be very generic, but the experience will never be generic, because people's problem only keep increasing. Tomorrow there will be bigger problems. So in order to create a better experience, newer startups will come up. Just like I can give you an example, since Swiggy and Zepto is very famous, right? We cannot even think of replacing these apps. But there is an app in Bangalore, in some areas called Swish. Do look it up. Swish is a new app that delivers food, right? That delivers food from cafes and all that. And they are actually taking a lot of market. That's because the way they are solving new problems. They're not just solving problems that Swiggy has already solved. So design is not stopping. There is a lot of opportunities. Opportunities are only increasing. Right? So UI design is not dead. UI design is dead, but not really dead, because if you are going to be a generic designer, AI is going to replace you. But if you're not going to settle for the normal things, and if you want to design more amazing things, right, amazing experiences, if you want to pinpoint users' pain points, if you want to empathize with users, uh, create better convenience, right, more effective strategies, you will end up creating a very good product. All right, so that is pretty much about this entire session about design that moves the world. Right, so I hope you guys have learned one or two things. I have just an hour, and I think I've already exceeded a few times. I also saw that tomorrow you're having Figma hands-on, so I'm not going to take you to Figma again. I hope the next event is going to do justice, right? So now is the time for questions. So go ahead and you can speak up, or you can also add. Okay, I'm already getting a question. Dipanshu says, what makes a candidate stand out in a UI UX internship interview? All right. So three things. The first thing is you need to have a good portfolio, right? If you have a good portfolio, it will make you stand out. The reason why I'm saying this is because designers are meant to be good storytellers, right? So if you have a problem, you don't just tell, well, I have solved this particular problem, and I did this, I designed an app, I added a bunch of colors, and that's it. That's not how you present yourself. If you are a designer, or if you are looking into a UI UX job, you need to be a good storyteller. And in order to be a good storyteller, you can also show that skill in your portfolio, right? So even if you're making a portfolio, don't make a generic portfolio. Add some of your character into it, right? So add a little bit of, okay, who is Dipanshu, right? Who is this person, and how do I see him when I'm taking the interview, right? That should be already there in your portfolio. And so portfolio is the number one important thing. And the second thing is staying updated, which means you're not just going to use Figma and show off your Figma skills. You're going to talk about how of an amazing world you live in, and how you're using AI every day, how you can create better and faster designs using AI, how you leverage all these tools to create faster things, right? That is the second thing, staying updated, right? So the first is not just about learning tools, right? You need to have a good portfolio. The second thing is about leveraging AI. Now, the third thing, and perhaps the most important thing, is going to be, like I said, AI, everything is there. But the third most important thing is about real world experience. Now, this is going to be tough because many of us, as interns or freshers, right, when you're applying, obviously, you don't have experience. But what hiring managers look for is that, have you worked on an application, or have you worked on building some product, right? This does not mean you have to work in a company. No, you can probably talk to your mom, and your mom would tell you a bunch of problems she's having on the phone, right? Maybe she's using Swiggy, and maybe she's not able to find that famous restaurant, right? She's not able to properly use the search bar. So what do? You create a solution for that. You use the design thinking process, you create a solution for that, and then you turn it into a case study and you present it to your interviewer. Now, when your hiring manager or your interviewer knows that you have put in effort to create and solve a problem, you have a very good chance to stand out, right? So I hope that is helpful. Okay. Should an interface be minimalistic or bold? Again, this keeps changing. It depends, because nowadays, if you look at Swiggy and at the same time, if you look at an app called Snack, right, you can see that Snack uses Gen Z languages, which means bold design, bold colors, things like that. But at the same time, if you look at Swiggy, Swiggy is a little more traditional sort of application. So minimalistic or bold design depends on your TG, which means your target group or the audience you're catering to, right? So that is very important, who you are designing for. And that's how you decide if it's going to be minimalistic or bold. How can a designer not be generic and excel? I hope I answered that question. Be different, stay different, right? Think creative. Don't just think like a very generic designer, think creative. And at the same time, make designs that you would love to use, right? If you created a design, would you use that particular application every day? That's the first question you need to ask yourself, right? Because we are living in a world where there's Duolingo, Airbnb, there is Cred. I hope you guys know about Cred. So all these apps have set a benchmark for design. So you need to design something that you would love using, and that's how you will actually stand out from the crowd, right? What skills? I hope I answered that. AI skills, staying updated, not being very generic, knowing as many tools as possible, and most of all, being fast, right? Because now we are at a world where you can't take 2 days, or I mean, you can't take 2 weeks to create something. There are startups that's being born in a day, right? And ideas are turned into a design in a day, because you can absolutely create apps using Lovable now. So you have to be fast, and the more fast you are, more efficient you are more likely to get hired. And trust me, don't worry about the salary, because if you're talented, you have opportunities out there, you have a good package waiting for you. All right, how to start? Good question, Atarsh. I hope I answered that. But let me answer that once again. How to start UI UX? I hope this session was insightful and helped you to maybe get an idea of how to start UX design. The next few things would be, remember the framework that I showed you. Try to come up with an idea, turn it into a solution, right? And then go to these AI tools, build a design, go to Figma. If you don't know Figma, there's a plenty tools out there, plenty videos out there, sorry, plenty videos out there which you can just watch and learn. And if you still don't want to watch videos, just reach out to mentors. I have my LinkedIn here. You can follow me or follow mentors, learn from them. There are many people who are, giving freely to the community. So follow these people and learn from them as well. That is also an easier way to do it. And the next one, how do you stay updated with design trends? Follow mentors, look at design industry experts who are actually working as designers, not just design gurus, right? Forget design gurus. Instead, look at people who are actual designers. And the best thing to stay updated with design trends is using your mobile phone every day, right? So use apps, websites every day. There are a bunch of plugins and bunch of websites like awards. I will probably ping this in the group. So this is something that you can use: awards, Mobbin, Behance, Dribble, right? All of these tools help you stay updated with design trends. All right, so some article blog, okay, some good book. That is a very good question. Thank you for asking that, Vishwadeep. Some good books that I would recommend to all of you is, it depends. If you're a designer, I would recommend you a book called Design of Everyday Things. It's a very traditional book. Or if you are building a product, if you want to be a founder, if you want to run your own company one day, right, you must read the book called Hooked. That is Hooked. All right, it's called Hooked by Eyal. I'll just look it up for you. All right, so this is a book. Make sure you read this particular book. It has absolutely everything you need to learn about design. Another book is called, which is one of my favorite, Steal Like an Artist. Not sure if you have seen this book. Steal Like an Artist is also one of my favorite books. It is for creative people. How do you become a creative person, right? That this can help you in that. All right, so those are a bunch of books. There's plenty of books actually. How do I properly manage load balancing? Putting stress on main threads. Can you explain the question a little bit more? Maybe some context. Load balancing, stress on main threads unknowingly. I'm not sure I understand, and I don't want to give you a wrong answer also. All right. So, what inspired you to choose UI UX? Um, I love creativity. I love playing around with creative things, and most of all, I'm a curious person. If there is even a small thing that I see, for example, this particular remote, right? I start asking myself, why is it in this manner? Why wasn't it just maybe something else, right? So I'm a very curious person, and if you are curious, uh, user experience design is probably the best for you. So I'm a curious person and I love solving problems. Many of my friends probably come to me, with a problem, and even though they just want to rant about their problems, I always end up giving solution, if it's, if it works or not. I love solving problems. So probably those are the things that inspired me to take UI UX. Um, and it's been a long run actually. It's been almost um, 8 years or 9 years since I've been designing, and I am still loving it. It still feels like day one, right? So that is why I love and I choose. I still chose this industry. It's very new. And okay, how can I practice designing with proper guidance, mentors? Again, same things that I mentioned before. Secondary one, okay. How to control oneself from the urge to just add all the features options? Very good questions, Laksha. I feel the urge to add features or multiple different apps and websites that I saw somewhere. Good question. I think this is a very good question, and probably I can help you guys understand. So what Laksha is trying to say is, there are a lot of new apps out there, new trends out there, new designs, new products, right? A lot of things. That's very overwhelming. And how do you, as a designer or a design founder, how do you prioritize what to put in your product? Right? That is a very important question. The first question that you need to ask yourself is this solving my user's problem? Right? So if your product is going to be about homely food, right, you're not going to put a travel or a ticket booking feature in that, because they want to order homely food, right? So at that same time, you should also think, okay, they want to order homely food, but should I add restaurants? If you add McD and KFC, then it destroys the entire purpose of homely food, right? So you need to ask yourself the question, is this necessary for my users' problem? Is this solving their problem? Every feature that you add, you need to ask this question. Is this solving their problem? And if it's not solving their problem, remove it, right? Remove that thing, keep it as simple as possible. Less is more. That's the word that you need to keep, that's a statement that you need to keep telling yourself. The lesser things are there on your screen, the better experience you're providing, right? So less is more. Keep it minimal, keep it simple, just like the Google Yahoo example that I gave. And similarly, all these things, right? Ask yourself, is it solving the problem? Right. So I think I can take one more question. If you could restart your UI UX journey from zero, how would you do it? What mistakes would you avoid? All right. So if I was to restart my UI UX journey, I think the first thing I would do is I would read that particular book called Steal Like an Artist, and I would learn to learn, if that makes sense, right? I would learn how I can learn new things. How do I jot down points? Remember the first slide that I showed you? Need to have a pen and paper, document what you're learning, note it down, and then post it on social media. That's what exactly I would do. I would document my journey and I would share it with people, because when I share it, people would come back to me saying, hey, this is wrong, I want to this is not right, and then you learn again. So learning is the first skill that I would learn, right? uh, I would understand how I can learn new things. I would not stick to the traditional UI UX. Trust me, that is dead. Traditional UI UX is dead. Now the new era has emerged where you use AI tools. So every day I will start using or learning new tools. I would use, if I'm using Lovable today, tomorrow I will learn how to use Claude, right? I would practice and perfect. That's the third point. Practice and perfect yourself. Use Figma every day and try to obsess over how you design. When I started designing, I was so obsessed with using Figma that my eye power increased by one. I'm not even making this up. This is actually true. I was staring at the screen and I would just design day and night, just trying to come up with new things, learn from new people, right? New industry leaders. I would learn from them and I would try to obsess myself. And then the next thing is curiosity. Like I said, be curious, stay young, explore all the applications that coming on your App Store, Play Store. Try to see how it is different, why is it different, and what makes it unique, right? I would try to do all of these things, and then I would end up with a lot of knowledge that I can share with people, and also create good portfolios and eventually share it with the rest of the hiring managers, things like that. So that's the main thing. I hope I am not taking much of your time. So I think it's already past the time, and many of you are feeling sleepy, I'm sure. So I just want all of you to give a very good thumbs up, or if you have liked this session, go ahead and um, give a thumbs up, right? So this is all about creating designs that actually moves the world. It's about being unique, being new, right? Being curious all the time so that you create something absolutely new and fresh. Because in a world, especially in 2025, you don't want to be generic, you want to stay out of the crowd, right? So thank you everyone for being in this session. Thanks a lot. I think that's it from my end. All right, over to you.
Thank you so much, sir, for such an insightful and engaging session. Before we wrap up, it would be great if you could give 2 more minutes of your time.
Of
We would
course.
love to hear your thoughts on how your experience was interacting with the Skills Sprint crowd today, and if there are any other words you'd like to share for the students at KIIT.
Yes, actually, it's very nice. I'm really happy that there is an opportunity like this called Build School, right? If I'm not wrong, yeah, Build School, Skill Sprint. This is amazing. I think everyone who is here, you guys are absolutely lucky to have, being in this situation where you're learning from people, learning new skills. It's important. I know you have started with design, but trust me, uh, use maximum of it, right? Trouble your staffs, trouble your teachers, trouble your mentors, trouble everyone as much as possible to get the most of the resource that they are providing you. So stay updated on LinkedIn, stay updated on social media platforms, connect with as many entrepreneurs, leaders, people who are industry experts as much as possible, because this is going to change the game. We are living in a world where everyone wants to be an entrepreneur, and I'm sure it is possible. Anybody can be an entrepreneur nowadays. So yeah, this is a great initiative, and I'm really glad you guys have chosen me also to give a session.
Thank you so much, sir. We don't deserve so much praise. All you did was contact you, and you did you did literally everything. So thank you so much, sir. By the way, guys, if you didn't know, we also have Ajay Khatri sir over here who will be taking tomorrow's session. Figma's hands-on. He had stayed the entire session with us. So thank you, Ajay sir, as well. See you tomorrow, sir. I think he left. He just left just now. Anyways, guys, thank you so much, sir. Thank you, everyone who attended the class session. Thank you. Bye bye, sir.
Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye bye, sir. Ajay sir is right here. Okay. Hello, sir. Just another again, guys, just a reminder, guys. Tomorrow we'll be having the hands-on Figma session, so don't forget to tune in, right?